Hey, hey, look, it's me. It's me. It's okay. Okay. It's okay, baby girl. I got you. I got you.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Episode 40 of the Take One podcast. We are live here on YouTube. And I can't wait to jump into this one, man. First off, I gotta introduce my guest. Like I can't go any further without that. He's been on the episode now, or on the podcast before, returning guest. I've been on his episode, or on his podcast, I should say. My man Blake, you may know him as Blake Takes on TikTok. And your own podcast, man. You're doing it all. You're doing it all.
It all. What's going on? Good to see you once again, Michael.
I know, man.
It's gonna be a busy week for us.
It is. It is. We're gonna recap this. We're gonna recap Scream, and I listen, man. I'm so looking forward to that Scream discussion, the Scream Live. I got a lot to say. I can't wait to hear everybody's like opinion on the panels. Like, I kind of have a feeling how everybody feels a little bit about it, but like I don't know, like the nits, the nitty gritty, the big details, what worked for them, what didn't work for them.
I know, because I've kind of shied away from asking you like your opinions on it, because I want to hear it, a reaction on the episode itself. And from what I've been seeing, on social media, seeing a bunch of different people's opinion, I'm just like, I'm really curious to discuss that movie.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to dive into it. A bunch of Scream nerds on the panel, and that'll be live this Wednesday, 8 p.m. on the YouTube channel. But listen, man, we have a lot to jump into. The Last of Us season 1 wrapped up last night, right after the Oscars. Obviously, I tuned into the Oscars. I know you did. You were hosting your own live show. How drunk, if at all, did you get last night?
Okay. So yes, for those of you who don't know, we did go on live for TikTok and Twitch for the Oscars, and my co-host Garrett and I, we decided to have some fun. We made a little game out of it. So we had our predictions for each category for the Oscars, and I was like, you know what? Let's make a game. If we lose each prediction that we lose, we got to take a little shot of something. You know what I'm talking about? And man, the first half, bro, I was like getting pretty tipsy. I'm not gonna lie. We had like tequila and whiskey. But then the second half, we were starting, our predictions. A lot of our predictions were correct. So, we had some pizza, so we were fine towards the end. But I was a little tipsy at one point.
Well, let me tell you this: hell of a move to go with the pizza. Like that's a clutch move. That definitely helped out.
Yes.
But listen, man, y'all did a great job live, man, responding to everybody, reacting to the awards. Let me ask you this though. Kind of just recapping the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I know Everything Everywhere All at Once was my number 2 movie of last year. I still put Top Gun number 1.
Okay.
But I had a good feeling that Everything Everywhere All at Once was going to kind of sweep a lot of the Oscar categories. Like I was pretty damn confident in that. How did you feel going into it? Did you feel like that movie was going to do really, really well? Did you, what was your kind of initial thoughts going into the show?
Yeah, I definitely knew that Everything Everywhere was going to do really well. A lot of our predictions was Everything Everywhere. I will say I was expecting some upsets. I mean, we did get some upsets in my opinion based on, what my predictions were. I had predicted All Quiet on the Western Front to win a few awards, a decent amount, but they racked them up last night.
Yeah, they did. And good
they
for
won
them.
A lot.
I love that movie so much.
No, yeah, it was a great movie. I definitely wish a few movies, took home some trophies like Babylon.
That's your movie, man. That's your movie.
I thought I really did think it was either going to win production design or best original score. Did not win either one, as All Quiet beat them both in both of those categories.
Listen, man, my shock of the night was the Jamie Lee Curtis
Yes,
win.
absolutely. Gotta agree. Yep.
And I wanna talk on this just for a second because I love Jamie Lee Curtis. I've been a big fan of
Yep.
hers, obviously.
As we both, yeah.
And I'm super glad that she got her Oscar. Like, I'm super happy for her. But like, in saying that, like, I feel like sick to my stomach because for me personally, I thought Angela Bassett was going to win that award. That's who I thought deserved that award, and technically, most of them do deserve it. I've seen Jamie Lee Curtis in far better movies and far better roles than what she was. And I'm saying she was bad. It's just, I don't know. I remember being just what that Wakanda Forever meant and what they had to go through and seeing Angela Bassett's performance, like that scene in particular where she's just, her whole performance, but where she's yelling at the top of her lungs, giving that powerful speech, man, it gave me goosebumps. It gave me chills. And I just thought that she deserved it. As much as I love Jamie Lee Curtis, not trying to take anything away from her, I just thought that award should have gone to Angela Bassett or maybe somebody else for you.
Yeah, so I think that category was definitely the most in the air because Angela Bassett did win the Golden Globe, Jamie Lee Curtis won the SAG award, and Carrie Condon won like the BAFTA award, something like that. So I predicted Stephanie Hsu was gonna win. Yeah, and if not her, I honestly so that was my first option. Second option, I'm not gonna lie, I had Carrie Condon winning. And then third, Angela Bassett. But like literally, I had everyone else winning above Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, yeah, sure, she deserves to be there, nominated in that category. But I think a lot of I think the other actresses definitely got robbed for sure.
Was that your biggest shock of the night?
Absolutely. I can say that because I remember while we were watching it live and I was just like, wow, they actually did it.
Yeah.
There was a chance they were going to, but I didn't think they were.
I didn't think they were going to either, man. Let me ask you this. Do you think that was more of a nod towards Jamie Lee Curtis getting her Oscar, or was that more of a nod towards Everywhere, Everything, All at Once, in your opinion?
I think it was more of like a legacy win,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because she's obviously had an amazing career. Part of our favorite horror franchise. I mean, we don't have to explain Jamie Lee Curtis's career. But it definitely felt like maybe, an awarding her career,
No, dude, I totally get that. And again, as much as I wanted her to have an Oscar, she deserves it. Just makes you feel a little not sick to your stomach, but like I don't know. Like I feel like it should be deserving. And again, no disrespect to her, but
and I feel like there's going to be one of those kind of wins every year at the Oscars.
Yeah. Now, what did you think about this year's Oscars compared to last year? Aside from obviously the big controversy last year, but actual show wise, how did you feel about that?
Show wise, I think it definitely felt more like the Oscars. I think it was a very safe show. Jimmy Kimmel hosting it again for the third time. Obviously, it felt like they didn't really want anything to go wrong, so I feel like the jokes were pretty safe. Like everything felt pretty safe to make sure that it was a smooth show, and for the most part it was a smooth show. Obviously I think it was better than last year, feeling like the Oscars again. And really what made it better as well is just like I do believe the lineup this year of the movies that were nominated, it was a solid lineup. It really was.
Yeah, I agree, man. And there were so many movies that I would say there's a couple that I didn't get to make it to see, like Women Talking. I just could not find that anywhere.
Right.
So I didn't get to see that. But I don't know, man. My heart was always stuck on Top Gun for whatever reason. And a lot of that has to do, we talked about this, for me personally, was just that theater experience, being able to see that in IMAX. And I don't know, man. It was just an experience. And then I was late to Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, and fell in love with that movie. So there were just so many great movies to choose from this year, and great actors, great actresses as well. Yeah, man. Any last thoughts on the Oscars? I know you kind of talked about everything last night, but anything you kind of want to dove into, and kind of get out, or you kind of Oscared out?
Yeah, we are. I am pretty Oscared out. I'm not gonna lie. Between watching all these movies between, doing podcast episodes about these movies, it almost felt like, it was a regular season leading up to the postseason, and then the Oscars was finally the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's like finally able to get that off your chest and like time to move on.
Mhm.
Before we dive into The Last of Us, though, I should have started the show off with this, but NFL free agency is already off to a crazy start. I know you're a football fan, man. I gotta talk football with you for a second.
Thank God, man.
I gotta talk football with you for a second. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. I think that's the big one today.
So wait, did it officially go through?
It did. Well, I mean, everything officially won't go through until the new season starts or whatever that date is. But a deal is in place, 100%.
Okay. Yeah, there was that. Another one that caught me off guard was Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins.
Yeah. Oh, that's another big one as well for a player and a third-round pick, I believe.
I like it. I like that. I do like that.
Are you a Jalen Ramsey guy?
Not really. I grew up a Florida Gator fan, and he was a FSU Seminole. So, but I like seeing Florida teams do well. When he was on Jacksonville, I had a fun time watching that defense. Didn't watch him too much when he went to the LA Rams because I mean, fuck the Rams. But I'm excited to see what he brings to the Dolphins because I love an underdog story, and I love when teams that have been doing bad for so long are starting to get over the hump, and getting those dubs, making it to the playoffs. So I hope the Dolphins do have a good season with him.
Yeah, me too, man. I liked what they were doing last year. It's just unfortunate Tua couldn't stay healthy, man. I mean, when he was on the field, he had him rolling, man. So interested to see how he bounces back this year and what their future at quarterback is going to be. So that was a big one. For my team, we're losing players like crazy on defense. It's tough.
Who's Philly lost so far?
We lost Marcus Epps, one of our starting safeties. Javon Hargrave is gone. I'm sorry. He got a huge deal, which I knew that was coming. He went to the fucking 49ers. Like that dude is a beast, and to add him to that Niners defense.
Yeah.
And then we lost somebody else. I can't remember, but we gave Darius Slay the option to seek a trade, which I don't get. They say it's a part of the contract negotiations, but whatever they want to say, it just makes me nervous. And then CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's a beast. He talks a lot of shit, but he definitely backs it up. He's a free agent too. Miles Sanders is a free agent, so we got a lot of free agents. I think we're set on offense. Everybody's kind of under contract. Jason Kelce said he was coming back today, so that's a huge plus. But defense is where we're gonna hurt most. What about for Tampa though? Y'all making any moves out there?
I know they just signed Jamel Dean to a 4-year deal to keep him there. Which is good because I know the Bucs secondary has always been iffy. Like they can't stay healthy. The Bucs secondary has never been able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I think there was another move recently too. I forgot though. I did see that the Oakland Raiders signed Garoppolo to a 3-year deal.
I did. My buddy's an Oakland fan, and he was like, "I don't think I like this very much."
it just seems so random.
It is. It's totally random. And I saw the Niners picked up Sam Darnold. Out of nowhere too.
Yeah, and then obviously we got Derek Carr going to the Saints, coming right into my division. So
yeah, man, a lot of moves being made. I'm already excited for the NFL season, man. Didn't end the way I wanted it to, so it hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts.
No, especially the way that one ended.
Yeah, I try not to harp on that. There's other plays in the. I know it's so cliche to say, but there's other plays in the game. I mean. Call or not, you can't give Pat Mahomes the ball and let him run the clock down. You just can't. But I was super happy to see Jalen perform at a high level in a big game. That was pretty big.
Yeah. He killed it. He easily would have been MVP if they won.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure. All right, man, time to dive into The Last of Us Season 1. First, I gotta ask you: were you somebody who played the game?
So. I am not someone who played the game. However, I made that decision going into watching the show as well. I knew the show was coming out, and Obviously, I could have played this game in time for the show, but I decided that, you know what, maybe it's best if I don't play the game and watch the show first, so I don't have any, premarital judgment on it, have any gripes with like what they're doing creative decision wise within the show. So I really wanted to go into the show blind just so I can enjoy it as a TV lover.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Because I've heard people talk about this game for a few years now,
Right? Yeah.
and I knew a show was coming out, but I just never ended up playing the game, and all the hype came with the show, and nothing was really on. House of Dragon kind of just ended not too long ago, and I was looking for like that next big show to watch. You had these I don't want to say little shows, but like, I don't know, nothing that really catches my eye. You know what I mean? So I was really, really looking forward to this. I think this was like quote unquote the next big show, and you had Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal in this, which already had me sold. I was like, okay, they're off to a good start. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as game wise, I didn't play it. But I will say, jumping into, like, I've heard people who have played the game say that the adaptation is phenomenal.
Yeah, my roommate played the game, loves the game, and he absolutely loved the show and thought it was a great adaptation. Obviously, you're gonna have some people who are gonna nitpick. Yeah, but for the most part, though, from what I've heard of people who have played the game, they said it was a great adaptation.
Yeah, again, same here. I don't know, man. I just remember when this show came out. I kind of want to start off with episode 1. Obviously, I remember when it came out, and I was like, kind of like just seeing where they were going to go with the whole apocalypse thing, and how is this going to be so much different from The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
I was a big fan of The Walking Dead up until like season 7, and I think they just lost that magic, that spark. It just felt old and ran out. And like, if they would have ended it around 6, maybe 7, like, you're talking about, for me, possibly one of the greatest shows of all time. It's just, hard to stop making shows when it's bringing you in money, and it, unfortunately, it just kind of diluted the show and kind of ruined it for me. But so I just wanted to see what was going to be so different about this, because I didn't know all the ins and outs of it, because again, I didn't play the game, so I didn't know, what the monster was. Like, was it, with zombies, alien? Like, I didn't know anything. I just knew that it was some type of apocalypse. And listen, man, I think one of the first things that they did from the beginning that I really loved is character development. Really from the jump in that first episode, I think, as we see Joel, and I think his daughter's name is
Sarah.
Sarah? Is it Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the hardest things to do is, and this is kind of a spoiler, but for example, like for Scream 5, I didn't connect with any of the characters.
Okay.
Like none of them just sold me. Like, they didn't build any of them for me to really attach to or latch on to. Maybe Jenna Ortega a little bit, but she didn't really have that screen time for me to really dive into her character and really care about her character on a different level than, the level that you should as a viewer. But I think one of the best things that this show does is they do it right from the jump. And I think the writing and the relationship that they show on screen between Joel and Sarah, although in one episode in a very short amount of time, it was written so good and performed so well on screen that when she died, it affected me. Like, I felt it, and I thought that that's just real big kudos to them. And once I saw them do that, I'm like, okay, you got me. Being able to write that character and build that connection so quickly, and we see it throughout a few of these episodes, to where we're introduced to characters, and we'll dive into it, that they're only there for one episode, but it's written so well, performed so well, that we fall in love with these characters, and whatever happens, and we're just fucking heartbroken. I remember when this show first came out and people got early screeners, I'm thinking this is a not like straight horror type apocalypse show, and the one word that I kept seeing pop up everywhere was heartbreaking, heartbreaking, heartbreaking. Like what are we getting into here? So, but yeah, man, I think that they had me sold from the jump from that first episode.
Yeah, no, it's funny you bring that up for that first episode because I, like I said, I didn't play the game, but for some reason I knew that his daughter does die. Like I know that she was not gonna last throughout this show, that she was gonna get killed off quickly. Um, and I know this going into the episode, and yet at the end of that opening, like 20 minutes in, when she dies, I'm fucking crying. I'm like, "What? This early in the season? This early in the show?
Yeah.
What is going on?" It was crazy.
Yeah, man, and I don't know. It's just it's a very hard thing to do, and they did it so well. So from that first episode, I was hooked. Were you hooked? I'm assuming since it got you, I'm assuming you were hooked from episode 1.
Absolutely hooked. And I think what made it even more tragic was because the way she died wasn't even from like an infected person, from a clicker or anything.
Yeah,
and I think that's what makes it even more emotional, connecting more to it. Like that makes it so much more tragic. And I was like, damn, because yeah, if that were to ever happen, it's not only the infected that are going to lose their fucking mind, it's going to be regular people too. Everyone's going to go crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, and we see that happen. Obviously, what was your? I'll save that question towards the end, but let me ask you this: what did you? Let's jump to last night. Actually,
Okay.
How did you feel about the season finale and kind of what we got?
Okay,
because I'm hearing mixed things.
Yes,
so.
Season finale. Now I see that it stuck pretty true to the game, so I can't really give it like, too much shit for wanting to stick to the source material, because that's something that you see shows stray away from sometimes when it comes to either games or comics, books, etc. So I got to give them props for that. However, it didn't really feel too much like a finale to me. Um, Not saying it was a bad episode, but I feel like things just kind of happened pretty quickly. They had finally reached to the point that of what we had been building up to for this whole season. Um, and things just seemed to happen pretty quickly. And I don't know. Like I said, I know it sticks to the source material for how the first game ends, but it didn't feel too much of like a finale to me, if I'm gonna be honest.
I feel the same.
Okay.
I feel the same, and I don't know. It felt very fast.
Yeah, well, it was also like, if I'm not mistaken, the shortest episode.
I think so, because I remember
Yeah.
when obviously I watch on HBO Max. I watched it after the Oscars.
Yeah.
I remember click and play, and I'm expecting, this is probably going to be around an hour 15, hour 20, because it's the season finale, and I think it was like 52 minutes, 51 minutes. I'm like, that's fairly short for a season finale. Like, it must be jam packed. And it had its moments, and I want to dive into its moments here in a second. But as short as it was, it just went by super fast. I don't want to sit here and say nothing happened, but I walked away feeling like nothing happened.
Right. It kind of felt like, it's TV, so, and it's hard when you're doing episode, season by season. So it kind of felt like, okay, well, what was the point of the season?
Yeah.
And yeah, there were some great moments. We have Joel looking like a badass, and I don't want to skip too far ahead, but I feel like what we saw from Joel in that episode, as much as I liked it, I feel like it maybe would have worked even better if we saw more glimpse of that Joel throughout the season, or even like even more flashbacks. I don't know, something to make us believe that, yeah, Joel's gonna absolutely flip the switch like this. And I don't know. Basically, he made a pretty poor decision in that final episode. And I feel like we didn't get enough glimpse of that throughout the season to kind of make that part believable.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's kind of like I watched some reviews today, and just like getting people's opinions, and I feel like it's very divided right now.
Really?
Yeah, I think everybody agrees it's a good episode. I mean, let's be honest, there's not a bad episode in this show, but I think the question that a lot of people are asking is, do you have a problem with what he did?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because I think let's be honest, from the last episode that I played in the clip of the opening when he calls her baby girl, like that is Joel fully opening up, and then we see it coming into episode 9. I mean, the beginning of episode 9 is a 1000% different Joel, a Joel that we have not seen like throughout up until this time. He has kind of opened up to her, like he's but he's still very guarded. I think after what he went through and what she did for him, and then they're at this point, he's fully opened up to her, like this is his daughter now. You know what I mean? Like his other daughter, if that makes sense. And I guess my question to you is, do you feel like he made that right decision killing all those people? I mean, because it's really floating the two different lines of Joel. I'm hearing some people saying it was too much, some people saying like he did what he had to do to get her out of there. How did you feel about that?
I'm not gonna sit here and say it's too much. I think maybe towards the end of that whole sequence with I forget her name, but like the that woman leader of the Fireflies.
Yeah, I think her name's Marlene.
Yeah. I think maybe it went a little bit too far when it came to her. But because it's like, if that was your daughter, you would you feel like you'd do the same.
I mean, it's very conflicting. I mean, basically, she's getting brain surgery. She's gonna.
Yeah,
I would assume she would die most likely.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, I feel like at that point, there's no question about it.
Right.
I mean, what's the chances the cure, quote unquote, works?
Right.
Like how? You know what I mean? I mean,
no one knows.
That's a chance that you take, but again, in itself, are you going to sit there and let them most likely kill your daughter?
Right.
The answer for me would be no. I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and it would just be a no. Like, it would be a solid no.
Right. Yeah, that's why I want to say, like, I'm not going to sit here and say it was too far.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, my man was picking them off one by one.
Almost seemed a little bit too easy.
Oh yeah, it was way too easy. Like, my man is just like perfectly trained is kind of what it seemed like.
And I feel like some parts of the show, that's kind of how it felt as well. Like, some parts just seemed a little bit easier than it should have been. I'm not saying there weren't, difficult conflicts in this show. I think the biggest conflict that we got within the show was probably the last episode when Elder Camp got Ellie and Joe was stabbed and was recovering from that. But other than that, sometimes it felt like things were a little bit too easy. And I don't know what you've been hearing from other people as well, but again, I know the game, I'm sure you see a lot more clickers. But I feel like we didn't see too many clickers in this Last of Us show. More in the beginning, but towards the end, we didn't see any.
Yeah, I mean, really, outside of a couple episodes, like they were just not there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the season was still pretty damn good, and I just sit back and think I would say that's probably, if I had to like pick out issues, what I had with the season, it would be not enough clicker time, not enough. I don't want to say action time because we did get some of those, but like
it was a very
character-driven
show.
Yeah, 100%. Which I guess isn't a bad thing. I mean, because it worked, obviously.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, if you give us good characters, then I'm not going to mind that.
But I would love to have seen more action in the show.
Yeah.
But listen, man, I don't. As far as the season finale, I didn't have a problem with it. I just thought we would get more. I was hoping for more.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say the season ended with a sour taste in my mouth because that's the wrong thing to say. It just kind of ended in a okay.
It ended abruptly
Okay.
because now it's like, okay, well, now we have to wait a year or two to see what's next. I feel like it ended very abruptly.
Yeah, it did, and it's like, all right, what is next? Are we going to get more clickers in season 2? I feel like,
Right.
or is it just going to be you running into these clicks?
Right.
Which, no offense, but you're starting to tread into that Walking Dead situation, and I don't want that to happen. I want to see more clickers. I want to see stuff like that. Like, obviously, there's going to be cults or whatever you want to call them out there, which is fine. Throw them in there, but I don't know, man. I got to see more clickers next season. But as far as the season finale, I thought it was okay.
Do you think maybe maybe we didn't see as many clickers because it cost? Because maybe the cost. I mean, because we did see how that. Yeah, because we did see how that one bloater costume makeup design costed like $500,000. So I'm wondering if just the budget of having how detailed and eccentric clickers were. I wonder if that came into play when it came to seeing more clickers in the show.
I feel like it's a strong possibility.
Yeah.
Now, with as great and as well as the show did, I would assume that budget rises next season.
Yeah.
And we can get more of the clickers and we can get more action-packed scenes. But I definitely think that has a lot to do with it for sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. What are the key standout episodes for you?
Key standout episodes. Obviously first one,
Yeah.
That's the one that gets you hooked. The third one with Nick Offerman, Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
That was a great episode. Episode 8. The last one that we see before the finale. And then I love the episode 2 with Sam, when they meet up with Sam and they start building that relationship, and we know how that ends. Another heartbreaking ending.
Yeah, I would say I think that's episode 5. I believe.
Yeah, like 5 or something.
Probably my favorite episode, and I hope that doesn't make me sound like fucked up in the head, because I'm just sitting back thinking of, again, how well it's written and how well it's executed. Because, again, I knew nothing.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything that happens. People who played the game, supposedly this happens in the game. And I know that they knew it was coming and it still hit them hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I guess for me, it would have to be that, because I was shocked.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Henry was going to shoot Joel.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going to happen in that situation, and like everything just happened like fast, and I'm just like, that's probably the episode that had the biggest wow factor for me, and I was just totally shocked, totally heartbroken. I mean, because you get Ellie and Sam building that relationship, and that ends abruptly, and you just think about everything that Sam has had, that Ellie has been through, the people that she's had to kill herself up to this point, and finally making a friend, and that friend going away right away. She's been through a lot, and I don't know, man. It was a tough scene to watch, obviously, for obvious reasons, and it's probably an episode that I wouldn't go back and rewatch, especially a bunch of times. But I would say, as far as favorite for impact and wow factor, it would definitely have to be that episode for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the execution was great in that one. And, if you don't play the game, you don't know what's going to happen. So when Ellie does find out that, Sam was bit and she tries to help him, you want to have hope. So you're like, okay, maybe something does happen. Maybe it slows down the process. Give us some hope that maybe Ellie can actually help with being the cure for this. And it's like, no, doesn't work like that.
I know, man. I know. Um,
I got a
who?
question.
Yeah. What's up?
So there was some great openings in this show as well. Some cold openings. Do you have one that sticks out in your mind? Besides, I mean, obviously we got that first season sequence of first 20 minutes, but is there like an opening that kind of sticks out in your head?
Um,
Because there's one for me.
that's a good question. I'll let you go first.
So one opening that I thought was amazing was the opening for episode 2, when we see that doctor in like Indonesia or something um get brought in by the government to examine a body in like the morgue. And
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
and she like pulls out the fungi from his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And they bring her into a room to ask her advice on what to do, and she just says bomb. I was like, oh shit.
No,
That's cold.
yeah, that's a really good one. That's a really, really good question.
Ooh.
I'll probably have to go with that as a cop out one because I can't think of any off the top of my head right now.
I know, it's like there's like a few that just stick out to me, but that one for sure stuck out the most, where I was like, this is a cold ass scene.
As it should. I mean, because that was for every reason.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a good one. Good
Yeah.
question. I might have to come back to that.
All
That's
right.
a good question. All right, so let's talk about your who was your standout character in this show? If it's hard to name, you can name a few. I mean, obviously you got the two. For me, I'll go ahead and start off. I'll go Bella Ramsey as Ellie.
Okay.
I know that's a super cop out, and I'll name a couple here in a second that also I really enjoyed. But I just think that going into this season, I just thought Pedro Pascal for me would be the clear cut best in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and he was really, really good. Don't get me wrong. I just thought Bella Ramsey did so damn good from the first time that we saw her from the jump. And honestly, her performance in episode 8 was just a fucking masterpiece to me. And I cannot wait to have more scenes with her in season 2. But as far as like my number one standout, I would definitely go Bella Ramsey.
Okay. I know it's kind of hard not to say.
It's hard not
Like,
to. It's we
yeah.
we spend a lot of time with them.
We do. It's definitely got to be those two. Outside of like those two, I mean, yeah. Let's do this. If we're gonna go outside of those two, I'll say, Nick Offerman as Bill. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And I'll go with probably Tess as well. So I would say those two outside of the out of our main cast are going to be some like side characters that definitely stuck out to me.
Yeah, I would go with Nick as well. I think he was really, really good in that episode. And I want to talk about that episode before we jump off here.
Okay.
But I would say Murray Bartlett, I think is his name, is Frank, who we get in episode 8, I believe. Is it episode 8? The main guy who's fucking with Bella Ramsey. Is that his name or is that somebody else?
Well, no, Frank. I think Frank was the name of Bill's.
Who was? Oh, I think it was. These. I'm not gonna lie to you. All these white guys look the same on here.
Well, it's hard too because like you only get them for one episode.
You do. But whoever plays what's his name in episode 8, who's fucking with
like the Jesus dude.
Oh yeah, we'll go with that Jesus dude. Because I don't know his name, and no disrespect to him, but he was a standout for me, because I didn't know his intentions until the very end, and then what a twist on that episode, eating people.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that part.
Yeah, me neither. So
because you could start to kind of get the hint that okay, there's something wrong with this guy. like when he came, when he came in and slapped the shit out of that little girl, I was like,
I know, dude. I was like, that's when I knew. I was like,
yeah,
this is
Yeah.
He's
This little family isn't a camp. This little camp you've built isn't as happy as it seems to be put out.
no, agreed. Any character that kind of annoyed you at all this season?
Honestly, no. And again, I think that goes back to us really not having
the time.
Yeah, the time. We only get maybe 1 or 2 episodes of certain characters. And so, most of the time is obviously spent with Joel and Ellie, and they were great characters. So yeah, I mean, honestly, no characters annoyed me, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. And again, that goes back to your stance on just not having enough time with these characters.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's usually I get mad at situations like that because I want more of those characters, and not saying that I didn't, but like the way that this show is written, back to my original point, it still gives us enough time to connect with some of these characters, like a Henry and Sam. I would say were two that obviously I feel like everybody connected with.
Yep.
But going back to episode 3 and Nick Offerman, did you? So for me, I'll tell you how I felt about that.
Okay.
I felt that he was going to get killed. Like, I felt that the guy that fell into the hole was like trying to do something super shady with him. Like when they were playing on the piano and he was like, go upstairs and take a shower. I thought that guy was going to do something naive. And
really,
yeah, I did. I didn't know, because again, I didn't know anything. Now, obviously, this is in the game, but I didn't know anything. Like, so for me, thinking back to what I know about any Apocalypse show or Walking Dead shows, people are going to act nice. But in the end, people are all for themselves. So I think being able to see that relationship build, and obviously, what it ended up being at the end of that episode, I think is what, just made it so special as well. But I will say in the beginning, I did not think what was going to happen and build was what it was.
Okay. I'm not going to lie. I didn't see that from it in the beginning. Not to say that I expected what happened, but I could tell that Frank wasn't really up to, no harm. I think he was just, from what I felt, he was just, lonely and did not want to go back out into that world. And obviously, with Nick Offerman's character, Bill being, as, faced off or, cut off from people's emotions as he was, I thought, I just kind of thought that he wasn't going to let that slide, but then it progresses. Yeah.
See, I didn't think that too, because I thought, again, he had that wall built up, and for obvious reasons, like, what are you doing? Like, for everything that I named, and I thought that Frank was going to do that to him, and he didn't. But that was such a pure episode, man, when they go out and they got the tomatoes growing, man. I was like, oh, man, you about to make me teary-eyed over here.
No, honestly, it was a love story that I was not expecting, and it was just a great episode. Like, I was not expecting to, have teary eyes when that episode ended.
Yeah.
I was just like, damn. And I was like, Hollywood, take notes, because that's how you got to do that.
Hell yes. All right, man. Before we kind of wrap up here, is there anything else that you want to say? I do want to get your opinion before we go on what do you want out of season 2. But do you have anything else as far as season 1 that you kind of want to touch on or dive into?
I mean, talk about Pedro Pascal for a little bit.
Yeah.
This man, Lord have mercy, this man has charisma everywhere right now.
Yeah, he does.
He's just such a likable guy. And I thought him as Joel was great. I know a lot of people, love this casting choice. I know a lot of people were skeptical about it, or maybe even mad about it, based off of what we got, they got from the game. But in the end, I think Pedro Pascal does a great job at, he kind of does this with Mando as well, as, being one of those quiet, manly dudes who, puts up a wall between him and other people. and then just slowly, just knows how to slowly peel back, the layers of his character, and then finally open up to the characters around him. I think Pedro Pascal does a great job at doing that. And yeah, what do you think of Pedro?
Oh, I thought he was phenomenal. Again, I think you said it perfectly. I think one of the great things about his character and what he was able to put on screen was being able to see those layers being slowly
Yeah.
pushed back or peeled back, and from what we got from episode 1 all the way to, I mean, just fully open in episode 9 is just so great to see. But also, we get to, again, back to episode 9, we see those layers peeled back, but we can also see the other side of Joel that still lives inside of him. And I think my big thing for season 2 that I'm curious about is how is that going to affect anything going into the future? How is that going to affect his relationship with Ellie? Because I think in the end, Ellie is going to find out what he did back at that hospital. I mean, that kind of seems like a foreshadowing moment that I think is definitely on the horizon for season 2. But listen, man, perfectly casted. Pedro Pascal, man, deserves all his flowers. Man, him and Ellie together are they're fucking phenomenal.
They are. And what's great too is Pedro also knows how to be funny. Like if you watch interviews with him, if you watch some of like his other roles that he's in, I mean, he just kind of knows how to do it all. Like he can be a funny ass dude.
Yeah, he can. And I listen, I just think he's a very, very well likable guy. Whether people wanted him to be in it or not, I will the ones that didn't. I don't get that. Like, I've moved away from immediately shitting on people that are casted that I don't think deserve the role or wouldn't fit right. Once I saw it again, this doesn't work for everybody, but once I saw Heath Ledger in that Joker role, like, I at least give everybody a chance. Again, doesn't mean it's always going to play out that way. I give everybody a chance. Like Robert Pattinson, everybody was like the guy from Twilight. I was like, listen, I'm with you, but I got to give the guy a chance. Like, I'm not going to clown him at all. And I thought that he did a pretty good job. So, yeah, man, I shout out to Pedro, man. Deserves all his flowers.
Yeah, I don't know if even because I was going through Twitter one day and people were commenting like who else they could see as Joel. And one comment was oh, come on, why am I blanking on his name? I love him. Jensen Ackles as Joel. And I was like, you know what? Actually, I could kind of see it. Obviously, can't change anything about it. I love Pedro. But it got me thinking too, because Jensen Ackles, he does kind of look like Joel in the game, obviously make him look a little older.
Yeah.
And he's already got that natural deep Texas accent because he is from Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, so is Pedro. He grew up in San Antonio, but Jensen's got that deep Texas accent.
That'd be interesting.
Right?
That's a real good one. Because I feel like I'm not good at picking out like who would be good in those roles. Because but I feel like once somebody's in their role, like I can't picture anybody else doing it. Like it would just seem weird to me, especially like shows I'm super invested in. But that's a good one because I can see that. I can
see it, especially after what we got from like Soldier Boy and The Boys.
Yeah,
it's like, damn, actually, I could kind of see it. But here's the thing: I don't know. I also don't think Jensen's name, as great as his career has been, with 15 seasons of Supernatural, recently starring in The Boys and being amazing and stealing that show, I still don't think that name would have been a big enough attachment to it like Pedro Pascal. I'm not gonna lie.
You're right. It wouldn't. That's a good point. Like I think they picked the right dude.
They did. They did.
But it makes you think.
It does.
It makes you think.
But all right, man. Look at Pedro, Mando, and The Last of Us.
My he is
crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
He's living life right now, I'll tell you that.
He is.
Expectations for season 2. What do you want for season 2?
Season 2, I would like to see maybe some more time with side characters that bring in a little more conflict. Like there was conflict in this season, but I feel like the conflict would get resolved pretty quickly. So I would say maybe some lingering conflicts with other characters that really have a big impact on decisions in the season. Obviously, we got to find out. We got to have Ellie find out what Joel did and have that
it's
conflict
coming
between those two. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I could say maybe a little more action, but if I want to be honest, from what I've heard story wise of people talking about the second game, I think it maybe could even be. It probably is going to be less action. Again, I could be wrong. But from the storyline that I've heard of what happens in the second game, it does sound like there could even be less action. I don't know. So, but I would like to see a little more.
Yeah, I would like to see a little. For me, I would like to see a little more action. I would love to see. I think everything that you said, man, because it's on point. Conflict. I would like to see stuff bleed into other episodes, because although I feel like they do a great job of telling a story, or multiple stories in each episode, and completing that story and moving on, I would love to see something leave you on a really good cliffhanger going into next week.
Yeah.
As far and not that. All right, this problem solved. Now we're going into next week. Like, give me something to look forward to the next week. Kind of like House of the Dragons did.
That is a good point. That is a good point you bring up because, like you said, House of the Dragon, they would end the episode. And you're like, fuck this. I need it right now. I cannot wait. Oh, my God.
That was, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
We'll be waiting a while.
Especially those dragons, bro. They look so good.
That last episode, man.
Oh yeah. See, and exactly ending a season like that, and you're like, "Fuck!"
Yes,
that we gotta wait 2 years.
Yeah, that was a hell of a way to end the season. But all right, man. I think that's gonna wrap up this kind of review show. I appreciate you coming on. Anything else that you want to say? If not, give out your socials where everybody can follow you.
Anything else about the show? Not really. Just that Pedro Pascal is he's the man right now. Just gotta say that. But yeah, follow us on Blake's Takes on TikTok, YouTube. We're on podcasts as well, where we post weekly. Apple, Spotify, Our Her Radio, all the good stuff. Streaming on Twitch every Monday, Tuesday night. We did stream on a Sunday because of the Oscars, but usually on Monday or Tuesday. So if you go to our bios, you will see the link in the bio for all of our social media channels. So give us a follow at Blake's Takes.
Make sure y'all go check that out because it's great content. Also, if you want to see Blake again on the show, he will be returning on Wednesday. Sorry, on Wednesday for the Scream 6 spoiler review. It's gonna be a good one. Make sure you don't want to miss it. It might be 9 hours long, so don't miss it.
Dude, I'm fucking pumped for that one.
Yeah, dude, I'm hyped. I'm excited. Like, I can't wait. Like my friend Kevin, who's on the panel as well. Like, he did the same thing you did, but he's like deep into it. He didn't post his Letterboxd score. He didn't do shit. So I have no idea how he feels at all. So I can't wait to hear people's opinions, man. I cannot wait. It's gonna be
I know. It's funny you say that because just off of Letterboxd, I know you're thinking this, and I know I'm thinking this. I know we both got stuff to say that may be a little different.
I know. And what we're gonna do in that episode is we're gonna dive into Letterboxd scores. I need to know how people rate their Letterboxd scores because
that's a good point.
Discount Final Girl, who I love, she does great content. Jess, she's on the panel as well. She says she wasn't a big fan of Scream 5, but gave it 3.5 stars. To me, 3.5 stars is
That's
damn
solid.
good movie.
Yeah.
3 stars is a good movie to me.
Yeah, no, when I do a 3 stars, that's an enjoyable movie.
There you go. So I need to get everybody's Letterboxd scores and I need them to explain what their level is and how they feel about that. But
agreed, because there's this one girl that I work with, and she's big on Letterboxd, and she'll be like talking about these films, like, oh yeah, I fucking love that film, like it was amazing, best film of this year, but it'll be 4 stars, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, that don't make no sense. Sense.
Yeah.
But make sure y'all tune in this Wednesday, 8 o'clock for the Scream 6 spoiler talk. spoiler review, and we'll see you Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in, and can't wait for season 2 of The Last of Us.
Absolutely, anytime.